What is going on, YouTube? This is Jam back with another video, taking a look today at Neon Abyss. This is from the guys over at Team 17 who have made some pretty good games. Worms Armageddon, Overcooked, The Escapist, just to name a few. And this is their newest adventure. This is a roguelike game, and of course you know how much I love this genre. So the question is, can Team 17 pull this off? And I think the answer is sort of. So what you're looking at here is some gameplay. This was a fresh run from the beginning. The plot of this game is just as goofy as every other roguelike game. You are trapped in this never-ending eternal hell, and you are trying to fight your way out. Every time you die, you respawn back inside this bar. Any gems that you've collected along the way or money is lost. However, you do get to keep these crystals, which you cash in, which unlock new abilities, typically in the form of giving you some sort of advantage in the next go-round. This is nothing uncommon from any other game in this genre. This game's tree seems to revolve around how your world spawns, whether it includes bonus rooms or additional unlockables as you play through. It's not so much items or gear, although there is one ability that allows you to have a little bit more starting gear. But unlike a lot of those other games that give you advantages more like in terms of health pool and everything, this game doesn't seem to do that. It wants you to uncover everything via items. Now, what makes this game different than a lot of the other games, I think at least their flair on it, is that they have included these little monsters, these little eggs that follow you around. And you'll see occasionally as I run through, I have one following me right now. You will eventually uncover these eggs, and as you kill enough enemies, they will eventually spawn. And sometimes there is an animal or a creature inside that will help you in your adventure. More often than not, though, they will fail the hatch, which means there's nothing inside. And that is the first, I think, of many problems with this game, and one of the reasons why I say it's kind of okay is because for as many cool systems and as cool level designs and as cool things as they implement, you constantly feel like you are not being rewarded. And also, there's a lot of places you just can't get to early on in the game, and there's a lot of wasted space. And that's really frustrating. So, unlike a lot of those other roguelike games, this one is constantly dropping items, which I guess that is like other games. I guess what really makes this one different, honestly, is the weapons. While all roguelike games, and I think of Dead Cells in particular, a lot of those weapons have very distinct abilities. You know, there's sometimes almost half a page full of item descriptions. This one gives you different stylized guns, but it doesn't seem like they do a whole lot of difference. I've only seen 3 major variants on guns so far. Your standard gun, which I'm using now, I've seen heat-seeking bullets, and I've seen bullets that circle around you, and that actually turns your gun into a guitar, which is kind of funny. You actually play musical notes instead of shooting bullets. You shoot music notes, but they circle around you, and then when you release left-click, they all spread out, basically a spread shot, and that's kind of interesting. But there's really not a lot of variety in the weaponry here. And that's what I'm not a big fan of, is that it feels very samey as you play through 5, 6, 10 runs. You're going to really play very similarly from one instance to another, and you may find a couple guns. I think at most you'll probably find, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 in your early runs. But they don't radically change the way you play the game, and that to me has always been one of the really exciting things about some of these other roguelike games, is that your weapons constantly change the way you play. You're constantly getting new weaponry, you're constantly getting different abilities, and they change what you're kind of how you're going to play. So like this one in particular, Famine. This is a heat-seeking gun that does have a recharge on it. So you'll see when I shoot, there's actually a meter that fills up, so you cannot go full auto with this gun. And that's nice because the bullets will kind of aim around and, you know, aim for you. You'll also notice it has a secondary function of spawning a barrel, which at first seems kind of stupid, but is actually very useful. If I didn't find this gun, half of this level would be inaccessible to me. You've noticed that I've been gathering these purple crystals, and the purple crystals are kind of like a second type of ammunition. And what they allow you to do is to use your gun's secondary fire. So you'll see that I couldn't get up to that place earlier. And by using my gun's secondary fire, I can spawn a barrel, which allows me to jump on it, cash in this blood chest, and move on. But you'll probably notice, or maybe you didn't, I'll explain it to you. I had 2 crystals before I began, and I used my secondary function to jump up there to open up a blood chest, which took away a portion of my health and revealed the contents. And inside was 1 crystal. So I used 2 to get 1, and I lost a piece of health. And this happens quite a lot in this game, where you will kind of stick your neck out for bonus rooms or for bonus objectives, and you don't really see much of a benefit. It almost plays in a way that it just wants you to kind of boss rush. I mean, yes, you know, the trade-off with this game, and I think Risk of Rain does it the best, where the longer you play, it's supposed to get harder, right? And, you know, you have to find that trade-off as to when do you want to cash in and go fight the final boss of the level versus walk around and continue to explore. This game doesn't seem to incentivize the exploration, and a lot of the items that you get outside of the main boss don't really seem that important. Yes, the boss drops do seem a lot better, and honestly, out of everything that I explored in level 1, the only thing that's really worth anything is those bodyguard sunglasses. You'll notice that my little mummy who's following me around hasn't really done a whole lot in terms of offense. They typically end up getting in the way. Not that it hurts you or anything. It's not like they're going to block you from doing jumps or anything like that. But they don't really do a whole lot. They have their own independent health bar, and they're pretty dumb. And 9 times out of 10, they will die in a boss fight, or they will die in a very crowded room because they don't understand how to dodge bullets, and you will see them just face tank things. Which is frustrating because it seems like they've put a lot into this system. Clearly you saw my mummy just level up, so now he does more damage, he shoots more pellets, whatever, and there's tons of different little animals, assuming you get one to hatch, but they don't really seem to make a big turn of the tide, and I find that really frustrating because I think of all the other cool abilities that I could unlock and all the cool things that I pick up. And it just seems like they put a lot of stock in these little critters that just don't really pan out. You see I've switched my gun over now for the White Fox. What the White Fox does is it looks awesome. It shoots stars instead of the heat-seeking round, and I have this kind of tail behind me. There you see another failed hatch. Again, it just doesn't seem like there's much of a reward here. Now in between the running around in the random rooms and trying to find treasure, you'll find rooms like this where you have to make a choice if you want to use a grenade, they call it a bomb, but it's a grenade, to open a rocked area to unlock a chest. In that case, I didn't have any keys to open the gold chest, so I took a gamble to try to open up one of the other chests, and it didn't necessarily pan out. I feel like I would have been better served to use that on a boss rather than on that rock. Another area that this game I think struggles with is this coin system where you kill enemies and you get coins. This particular door is locked behind a slot machine, and what I have to do is play the slots until either the slot machine breaks like it did and I cannot proceed, I cannot get that treasure ever, or play until I actually roll like a triple cherry or something and then the door will open. Risk reward there, I lost 15 coins, a very premium currency considering most upgrades and shops are 50 to 75 coins. The fact that I wasted 15 for 1 coin with an unknown chest doesn't seem like a very smart move. I did it here for you guys to see. If I was actually doing a real run, I definitely would not have invested in that because, again, there's not really a good incentive to complete a lot of this stuff. And you'll notice a lot of these blood things I am skipping because you do take away health, which is fine because you do seem to find it in abundance. But unfortunately, a lot of the payoffs in terms of what you find aren't necessarily there. Now, I have bashed this game pretty hard, but as I said, there are some good things about it, and I do love the combat system. I wish that maybe, you know, a double jump was unlocked a little bit sooner, but the aiming is really, really tight. It has a really good feel to it. All the guns, I feel like, are very snappy and responsive. The meteor gun in particular is one of my favorites. I like that you can, you know, I like that when you're aiming and jumping, it does kind of feel like a bullet hell game, but they still maintain that 2D platform element to it. So I think that that has definitely some merit to it. A lot of these roguelike games really like to just stay in these medieval times. It's very odd to me that that's like the go-to. Like, we need a dungeon, and you need to be a knight, and you need like a sword and a shield and a spear. So it's kind of nice and refreshing to see that we have a game that actually utilizes some of the more modern weapons, kind of like Enter the Gungeon or Nuclear Throne, which I feel like makes it a little bit different, maybe a different target audience. Another thing I like about this game is the bosses. I think all the bosses are very, very stylized. They're fun to fight. They all have interesting gimmicks. And most of them use weapons that you will uncover. That weapon I was telling you about earlier that circles around you, that's the guitar. It actually shoots music notes, which are exactly the music notes that this character is doing here. As a matter of fact, her ultimate move right there is very, very similar to what that charge up is for the gun. So I like that if you see something, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get something very, very similar to it in the game. Some people may look at that as kind of a cop-out and say, oh, this is really kind of just reusing assets. I like to see that there is stuff in there that I could get. Another thing I like about the game is I really love the art style. I think it has a really nice kind of sprite look to it. It's kind of refreshing to see so many vibrant colors. Obviously the word neon in the title, but it's nice to see a lot of vibrant colors and a lot of vibrant lights to it. I think the guns really illuminate the room. I think your character's modifications, whether it's crazy hair or like you saw that fox, that white fox gun that had the tail shooting behind me, it just has a nice bright aesthetic to it. And I think the best thing going for it by far is the music. It's playing a constant, really kind of toe-tapping rhythm behind everything. And then when you enter into combat, the music ramps up to like 10. And it starts pulsing really, really hard. And then when you kill all the enemies, it kind of you just get that low beat in the background again. And it constantly has this nice methodical drumming feel to it. It makes you feel like you're constantly advancing, moving forward. It ramps up in combat, it ramps up in boss battles, and it's a really, really clever way, I think. Kind of reminds me of Crypto the Necrodancer in that sense, which I really like that game for the soundtrack. So, would I recommend this game? I mean, I'm playing it on Game Pass, so I got it for free, quote unquote. I think there are definitely better roguelike games out there. I think Dead Cell is still the absolute pinnacle when it comes to this in terms of items, in terms of gear, in terms of progression. This game is fun. I think I will play it probably after they patch it a little bit more. I am not particularly in love with some of the basic items they have. I think the monster system needs a significant overhaul. And as fun as the music is to kind of jam along to, I think for me, there are better games that are worth my attention. Hope you guys enjoyed this video review. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.